Hey there, everybody. I am here with my star student, Lawrence. Now, Lawrence has become an absolute legend in the Action Jackson fitness community because of his incredible transformation, which happened so rapidly, but also more importantly, the physical, mental, emotional, the whole package. He's the real deal. I'm really excited to bring him on here today. So I got Lawrence. Lawrence, welcome to Action Jackson Fitness Success Stories.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you've become kind of a legend around the community for your incredible transformation, which we'll absolutely get into. We'll get into the numbers, the specifics, how you did it, everything. But before we get to the really, really good stuff, you know how we do it. We like to start with some of the bad stuff and start with like, all right, where were you before all this journey happened? Like, what were you going through physically, mentally, emotionally? Give me the real deal. Get raw, get naked.
So, in 2017, I weighed in at like 225 pounds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm only 5'8". I got a small frame. And so that's a lot of excess weight to be carrying around. And I wasn't always that way. I was in the military in my 20s. I was in the Air Force. And so I've been in shape, and I was in shape most of my 20s. But then I got into public accounting, and that's a job where you're sitting and you're tacking away for 8 hours a day. And then I got married and domesticated is what I say. And my wife, she's a really great cook, and sort of mindless eating, if you will, not really watching the calories. And, and there we are, or there I am, 225 pounds, like out of breath going up the stairs, heartburn, eating whatever. I would eat cereal and get heartburn, which sort of blows people's mind because you think spaghetti or pizza, but eating just normal stuff, I'd get heartburn. So I would take Prilosec OTC every day, and they tell you on the back of the package, take this temporarily. Don't take it for 4 years in a row, right? Because it's a proton pump inhibitor. So that's where I was, man. And then and then
How did you feel about all that? I mean, it sounds like physically you're not in a great place. Obviously, you're overeating to a degree. You're probably lethargic, low energy. Certainly, it doesn't sound like you were working out at all. So how is this landing on you emotionally? How are you mentally at this point?
There's, I guess, what they call it, cognitive dissonance. Is that what they say? Where inside, it's a weird thing where the way you think, but what you see in the mirror, there's a mismatch. And being faced with that every day as you're brushing your teeth, it weighs you down. And stepping sideways and sucking in, and then letting the stomach hang out and sucking in, and just seeing it's depressing. I can think of not making eye contact with people a lot, staring at my shoes, sort of being self-absorbed, wondering what they're thinking about me. Am I a slob? Do I not belong here, as I'm trying to be more successful in my career, but I can't take care of my body. I can't present myself in a presentable manner. So yeah, it beats you down. It wears down on you.
Boy, Lawrence, that's heavy stuff. I mean, just listening to you talk just gets me broken up and a bit emotional, because knowing where you're at now, it brings it, and it makes it so real, because I hear this time and time again when I talk to people who've gone through the program, where they have this disconnect where in their head they see themselves as one thing, and then they look in the mirror. If they really look, it's like, wait, who is this person? Like there's like you said, a mismatch. It's a perfect way of phrasing it. There's a mismatch between who you are in your head and what you actually are physically in real life. And then to hear you talk about being withdrawn, being sort of that lack of confidence, that insecurity, and then sort of the self-critical nature and talk that you were having, just sounds, man, that just really, it breaks my heart to know that there's so many people out there going through this that don't have to be. Tell me a little bit more about, like, what was the breaking point for you, or the change point, the thing that got you to make the change? Because that's the critical moment that we need more people to get to, is either the recognition or the cut point where they say, okay, I'm changing. What was that for you?
We got a little lucky. I hate to say this, a little lucky with COVID, a little lucky with the pandemic, in the sense that it shut everything down. And my wife actually it was really her driving it. She found tempo and tonal. and we were trying to decide which fitness equipment we were going to do. Since we have nothing else to do, let's try to get in shape and eat a little bit better. And so we bought both because I wanted to do the live classes and she thought tonal would be better. And so that was really the driver. I have to give her a lot of credit there. The fact that even in our marriage, that was something that we could do together was appealing to me, that we could wake up and work out together. So that was the tipping point. It's always been there. On my tonal name is The Train Has Arrived. Woot woot. Okay. And it's a stupid joke.
I love that.
My wife and I, when we met each other, we were in the best shapes of our lives, and then slowly just sort of let ourselves go. And then I tell her all the time, like, well, if I want to turn it on, the train can arrive any day. You get ready. I said that for like 7 years. 7 years. The train's going to arrive. So it finally arrived in like September of 2020.
When you're telling yourself the train can arrive at any point, and when you're kind of doing the suck in thing and the sideways, and what you see in the mirror isn't exactly who you think of yourself, is there just this continuous, almost like degrading of your confidence that happens, or like, what is that like as it goes on and on? Like, do you really believe that you could just turn it on like that and become this strong, athletic kind of guy that you are now? Or is it like fronting and like you're not sure if you believe it?
I'm a little lucky in the sense, sometimes I'm reading David and Goliath right now for like the 5th time, Malcolm Gladwell, and some turning these disadvantages into advantages. And
great book. I've read it.
Yeah, it's so good. And my disadvantage, I like to say that I was like a feral child, had to raise myself. Parents were busy working like 2 jobs and trying to make ends meet. And it wasn't that household you think where you're meeting around the table and eating dinner and laughing and whatnot and going to church, all that stuff. But so what that does is make you super independent. And because I've been super independent, I signed myself up for the military, I put myself up through school, got my master's degree. So I was in great shape before in the military. So I had already done it. So I knew I could do it. I think the missing element, not to jump too far ahead, was really having somebody you could leverage to get there. I needed the drill instructor in the military. I needed my first CPA that I worked for, Cyrus. He was a mentor to me. There's always been somebody to help, like, be the wind beneath your wings to get you to where you need to be. Not to
That's the classic hero's journey. Yeah. So the classic hero's journey, right? We see this in so many different movies, and the hero's journey, there's always the mentor or the guide, right?
There's always a Samwise.
Mr. Miyagi, right? Whatever you want to call it. There's always the mentor or the guide who's kind of involved in giving a little bit of direction, guidance, and pushing you in the right way. So you're struggling, obviously, mentally, physically. You're not in a good place. You're not in a good place. And then all of a sudden, COVID happens. Your wife buys tonal and tempo. So that kind of gives you, all right, now working out is basically in your face. Mm-hmm. Now, how did you go from, okay, this thing's on the wall, to actually, number one, using it, but then number two, getting to the point where you're like, all right, I want to really get serious about this?
Well, and I think this is where there's like a tug and a pull, where my wife had the initiative to buy the equipment. I just had the initiative to just start working out. So I started on tempo because that's the one that I appreciated. I cut out candy because I would eat candy all the time, and I cut out soda, but I didn't change our regular eating habits. I didn't change, I can't even imagine what the calories are, 3,500 calories a day or something, if I had to guess. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's how you get to 225 really quick.
The only reason you know that now, though, is because you've actually done better at tracking the stuff.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get there, because that's a huge benefit now of being able to do that quick analytics of what I'm putting into my body. So yeah, I just jumped into tempo, did 2 6-week programs on that. And then it was sort of bugging me that the tonal was just sitting there unused. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a program on tonal. And that's where I did summer shred and then your muscle building burnout. And like halfway through the muscle building burnout, I reached out to you.
Nice. So you're going through, you're doing muscle building burnout. Did it click to you that, hey, there needs to be more than just this workout stuff, that this has got to be more of a training and a nutrition and a mindset kind of approach? Or was it just like, hey, I don't know, let's see if I can get better results?
I wish I could tell you how I ended up. I think it was because in asking questions in the group and stuff, I saw how active you were, which meant you were reachable. So then it made me want to search around. And then I found that, you do private coaching. And then I watched your 1 hour presentation, and it had this very scientific approach about metabolic resistance training and the calories and the mindset. It just looked like it had like it was well rounded. And I thought, I mean, just the fact that this guy that I'm watching that looks the way that I want to look, that, you're walking the walk, you're talking the talk, it's scientific. And, all I have to do, it didn't cost me anything to put in my information. And we had our initial call. So it was like, even if it didn't pan out, it doesn't hurt to just try and reach out. So it
Absolutely.
just seemed logical.
So it's just sort of incrementally, one little step at a time, no big grand plan, just like, hey, let me try this. All right, let me move to the next thing. Let's move to the next thing. Next thing you know, we're obviously on the phone, we're chatting. Now, tell me, why did you want to do the coaching program? We're on the phone, we're talking, like, what was the driving factor? Obviously, we knew that you weren't necessarily happy with where you're at, but like, what was the reason that because we always talk about this stuff on the phone. Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to do it? It's so important. What was the reason for you?
I guess I just knew. I took a logical mathematical approach to it, that if I knew, to me, I jumped in full faith, trust in the program. I knew if I hired you that I would get here. I think in our early conversations, I said, I already know I'm that guy 16 weeks from now, or it might be a little bit longer. I didn't know if I'd get there in 12 weeks and 8 weeks or 6. I'm going to get there. It's just a matter of time. There's no way you go into a caloric deficit, do the workouts, do what you're supposed to do, and not get there. So I knew I was going to get there, and keeping me accountable the whole way there, giving me all the book recommendations, all that stuff. I knew it was just, if I hired you, I would get there. If I didn't hire you, then I was going to have to figure it out myself. I was going to have to go to YouTube and read all the articles and figure out this diet. And I'd probably get there in 4 years and not 3 months.
So you're looking for that shortcut to success, giving the information, what to do, how to do it, and then bam, I can execute. And you knew if you did that, you figured it's inevitable. I can do this.
Yeah, I watched your onboarding stuff, and what really sold me, the thing that really got me, that clicked for me, was it's an investment, right? I'm not spending money. I'm not, lighting $100 bills on fire. I'm investing in my body. I'm investing in my future. I'm investing in my health. The other thing that I remembered was, in public accounting, what ends up happening is you get what we call these little old ladies. That is, actuaries will tell you women live longer than men. They just do. And so it's really sad that men tend to pass away at 60, 65 or whatever. And then women live to their 80s. And so that's like 2 decades that they're on this planet without their, husband of 40 years. And so that was part of a driver too. I didn't want to not take care of myself and then, leave my wife alone for late stages of life, the golden years.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to the point now with the big reveal. So you get into the program, you're going strong. You were a star student. We'll talk about some of the obstacles that you faced along the way, but let's get to the good stuff. Tell me, what were the results when you finished the 16 weeks?
So 16, and I have my notes over here. So after like 16 weeks, I lost close 31.8 pounds, right? So almost 32 pounds in 16 weeks. And then body fat, I lost a total of, I think it was, I lost 9%, which, I think we talked whether I weigh myself in the morning or weigh myself in the afternoon, but, since I weighed myself at the same time every day to keep it consistent, 9% body fat. So huge.
Nice. And where are you at right now? Because you haven't let up. Like, you've kept going, and we've been working together. So where are you at now?
So I started, I think, at 31% body fat, and I'm registering at 17% now. So what is that? 14%? That's 14%
Nice.
body fat from the 9.4. And then, the weight, you can only lose weight so much. Now I'm at my probably maintenance weight, where I'm hovering around 170. So I might be 168, 172, but I'm right in that ballpark, where after the 32 pounds, I went from, 210 all the way down to, I think, to 178 at the end of 16 weeks, but now I'm at 172.
Wow. Incredible, incredible stuff. So over 30 pounds, like somewhere 11, 12, 13% body fat, somewhere in there. Pretty dramatic change. Obviously, the before and after tells in an incredible story. When you look at the before and you see the after, it's just unbelievable. It truly is that no pack to six pack program that I like to talk about and promote here. So tell me, how did it feel when you finally got to the end result?
Uh, it great. It little bitty every week, especially towards the end, the abs start coming in. My wife is very words of affirmation, giving me compliments all the time. People who haven't seen me in a while have that like, oh wow, like they take a step back. You get to learn different personalities because some personalities are very vocal and complimentary, and then others are a little bit I don't want to say what's the word? Not jealousy, but they don't know how to give a compliment. They're just like, oh, look at you, hot guy now. Like, get out of here.
I'm
So,
sure there is a little jealousy going on there.
so it felt great.
You got to do a post obviously on Facebook that was this post went crazy viral. You had 500 plus likes, a couple hundred comments on it and stuff. How did it feel to post that and then to get that massive influx of affirmation and just people just like holy cow and just praise that came your way? What did that feel like?
I mean, that group is a phenomenal group. So social media has an earned bad rap in that it can be a very negative space, but that group, everybody's there to help everyone. So it felt, I can see why people get addicted now, why they want the likes. And yeah, I've never been a big social media consumer, but after that, I was like, oh, wow, now I see the appeal. Felt wonderful.
That's amazing. And how has your life changed, right? Because the physical stuff is great. It is
Mhm.
amazing. You get the comments, you get the likes, you get all of that, the head turns, all the affirmation and intention. That stuff is amazing. It truly is. But what is like, how else has your life changed? Confidence, energy, health, all the kind of other things that we like to almost overlook, but are probably more important than the physical.
Sure. There's the thing that registers the most in the South, you hold open the door for somebody. When you're walking out and somebody's coming in, you just hold open the door. And now that I think about it, I would hold open the door and look at my feet, and they say thank you. And I say, oh, you're welcome. And I wouldn't make eye contact with them. And I had this thought the other day because I felt like, man, I feel like more people are looking at me and they're smiling at me, but it really isn't them looking at me. It's me looking at them. I'm making eye contact and saying, hey, I hope you have a good day or something, and having that sort of chest high confidence. That's the easiest thing to point to, that a smile can change somebody's day who's just getting coffee, and being fit is having this ripple effect on that tiny scale. And then in addition, stress management has probably been the most leveraged part at this time in my life. I made a job transition, and having the courage to do it. I don't know if I would have had the courage to do it in my earlier mental state and, feeling less than. So those are probably two really big wins for me.
That's awesome. So day-to-day basis, confidence is just much, much higher. You're not so introspective and self-critical. Now you're able to sort of project out a bit. I have a saying I like to talk about projecting confidence and success, because when you're feeling good about yourself, right? Shoulders back, chest is out, posture is obviously better because you're more fit. But also you got that confidence that you're bringing, and that people are responding to you differently. You're responding to them differently, which is great. And now a little bit less stressed, able to deal with the daily stresses of life. And we see this all the time. What physical training and mental training that you're doing when you're working out and you're exercising, it is like stress testing your body for these other things that are going to happen. These other life events like changing a job, getting sick, anything that happens, you are training and preparing for these things. So that's fantastic, less stressed. And then just to be able to have a little bit of more mental, I guess, confidence, right? In assertiveness to know I can make this change and I can do it. If I can change my body, I can change anything. I got this. That is all fantastic. Awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So where do we go from here? Like a lot of times people think like it's this end destination, you get the six pack, you get the abs, and it's just like amazing party. And then I don't know what, right off into the sunset with, with a swimsuit. I'm not sure, but like what's going on now? Like where's your head at in terms of your fitness journey, your mindset, what you want to do next, everything?
Well, that's part of your coaching that you've told. There's always something to strive for. There's always, I can get my heart rate reduced. I can get my recovery time up. I can get my time under tension up. It's not all about cutting fat and losing weight and looking good. There's all these other areas. We focused on breathing. We focused on mindset. The fact that I still get emotional or stressed on certain things that we talked about stoicism. If you just remove the emotion, it's just an email. That's all it is. It's a digital thing on a screen. There's nothing attacking you. So I have room to improve there. So there's always the next thing to strive for.
So now you're in a zone where it's like, okay, what can I change next? How can I improve other areas, get better here, there, and change some other things? And tell me, a lot of people think that, oh, well, Lawrence was in the military, so it must have been easy for him. Like, were there obstacles along the way? Like, how do you feel about the journey? I know sometimes when we look back, we think, oh, that seemed like that was relatively easy, but take me to a point where, was there anything that happened that was like a tough to overcome or an obstacle or a challenge that you faced that you were able to overcome that you're either surprised or proud of yourself about?
So I think in one of your programs, you have something that says, whether you think you can or can't, you're right. Right. It goes something
I
like
say that. I say that a lot. It's
uh,
a Henry Ford. It's attributed to Henry Ford. Who knows if he's the one that said it? But I've heard Will Smith say it, Henry Ford say it. But I firmly believe it. If you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
so as I read comments of people that are, going through their own challenges, be it traveling or work, so all this, and uh, I think I downplay it because I go through the same thing. I've got stress at work that I've had to overcome. If they want to meet, or my workout time is 5. I wake up at 5 and I work up from 5:30 to 6:30. That's my hour. And if something gets into that hour, like I don't like working out not fasted in the afternoon. I'm lethargic. I'm tired. And so there's been a handful of those where it's sort of pushed the schedule off, but I make sure that if I don't get it Tuesday and Wednesday was my day off, I'm going to work out Wednesday and hold myself accountable. And yeah, it might be some military programming, but ultimately I had to sign up to the military and make that decision to go through that reprogramming that they do to you. I had to put myself through school. There is I'm going to say willpower, but everybody has that power inside them to make that change. And if you've got that narrative in your head that, I think on our coaching call yesterday, the guy, forget his name, he had that little nagging negative energy that, you teach us to leverage that negative energy and use it to achieve your goals. Don't let it bear you down. I have the same negative voice. And for a while I thought, man, is this depression? Like, you have the negative and then you have the one that says, I'll prove you wrong. But if the negative gets like super loud and then life is throwing events at you that are proving that negative voice loud, it can be overbearing. So you have to battle that mental mindset of negativity. So I face those same things. Stress, mental negativity are probably the two challenges I faced.
And how did you manage to overcome those things?
Consistency, habits, just stick, like workout. And to your point the other day is, even if you don't feel like working out, the fact when you do, you'll feel a lot better and you'll be ready to tackle the day because you worked out, because you stuck to your habits, because you held yourself accountable and you did what you promised yourself you were going to do. So yeah, just sticking with it. That's how I
One
got through
step
those.
in front of the next, right? It's just one step after another, and just that continuous boom, 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 incremental change. It sounds like is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to put my finger on it because I'm just doing it, and so it's hard to step back and see it in the third person perspective that.
I call myself, as a nickname, Action Jackson for a reason. It's one of the things that I've learned throughout this life. I'm not as young as I look. I know I look like I'm probably 21, but I just graduated college. But I'm actually going to be 39 here in a few days. And the one constant, the thing that I can say with 100% certainty is that action is the difference between dreaming and succeeding. It's not a cute saying. Like, it's
Mhm.
not just this stupid cliche thing. It's true. You keep taking action, you just keep moving forward, as hard as it can be on some days. If you could just make one step in that right direction, it's a win. And then on the days that you do feel like it, it's so much easier, so much better. And it's like, I'm taking leaps ahead. So yeah, I don't want to discount that, because man, that is a really difficult thing, but you managed to do it. But I want to take you back to something I remember that you said to me, and it was a big, like, beautiful, amazing breakthrough moment for me about the type of person that you are, and kind of the potential you had, and it kind of really gave me a lot of confidence that I felt like you were going to be a pretty like as big of a star as you really became. I mean, I'm not joking or using hyperbole. You are like a legend in Action Jackson fitness community. Like, people are like, Lawrence, that's
I
the
think
guy.
Sharon has me beat. I think Nader has me
No,
beat.
so
There's a couple of guys I'm striving, I'm
I
striving against.
love that you got that mentality, that you're not letting your ego take over, and you're staying humble. I appreciate you, man. I do. Like, I love it. But you are like a legend. Everyone thinks like, oh, I want to be like Lawrence. Everyone in our Facebook group is like, I want to be like Lawrence. But the moment I want to take you back to is we were on the phone, and I remember saying to you, because it was almost Christmas. You signed up like 2 weeks before Christmas, and I said to you, hey, I think it's probably a good idea if we wait until after Christmas and after the new year. That way you can get a fresh start. Otherwise, it's going to be really challenging to try to do this over Christmas. And like, I don't know, just like maybe set yourself up for success. And what do you remember what you said to me, or do you want me to tell you?
I mean, I know what I said, the gist, but go ahead, you tell me, because you probably remember verbatim.
You said, Jackson, I don't care if it's going to be any easier, like whatever. You said, I'm so sick of where I'm at right now that I'm starting today. Like today, I'm starting right now, and I'm going to do this. Christmas, New Year's, doesn't matter. We're doing this.
I do remember that, because there's always something. There's Valentine's Day, there's Labor Day. I mean, you could come up with any holiday. There's my birthday, there's our anniversary. There's always going to be something that's going to say you can't start right now because this thing is coming up, and you gotta work
You're
through those
100%
things.
right. And what happens, like, I have a really great success rate that I'm really proud of. Roughly 80% of people get numerical, quantitative, and pretty significant visual changes that they're very happy with by the end of the program. But there's still a small percentage of people that don't. And it's the people who let sort of life happen to them. And while they might have sort of a clear schedule as soon as they start and say, oh, this is a great time to start, I got nothing lined up, there's always something that's going to come up, to your
Mhm.
point. And it's never going to be the perfect time. There's always going to be a birthday, a holiday, a this, a that, or whatever. And most people will be like, nah, I can't. Christmas, New Year's, I'm good. Let me start later. And you were just like, nope, I'm doing it. I'm committed. Like, you just had that commitment from day one. And that's why you were successful. You just fully invested yourself. And I just appreciated that so much. And I love the fact that you were just all in, regardless, no matter what. It was like, I'm doing this. That's the mentality that it takes to be successful and to really succeed at this kind of stuff. And I just wanted to point out how much I appreciated that about you, and just how telling that was about your character and the kind of person you are. It was pretty significant progress. Now, have you been back to the doctor since then?
Yeah, in fact, so I leveraged you, like everyone should have like a lawyer and an accountant, and they should have a doctor. And, I'm fortunate enough to have a fitness coach. Right. And yeah, I go every quarter to do blood work. And for just the last one, everything was green. I mean, I'm taking, in addition to the supplements I'm taking, they had me on vitamin D for a while. So I was vitamin D deficient,
Oh,
magnesium,
yeah.
zinc.
Oh, of
Yeah, all that.
course.
Very
Those are three
important,
big ones.
very important stuff. And then I think you helped me. We did a sleep study. You said, hey, I have sleep apnea, maybe look into that. Let's see if you can improve on your sleep. My sleep was fine, but I'm happy I did the study and got the clean bill of health there. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Because the
yeah,
placebo effect, right? It's like, if your mind thinks there might be something wrong, usually there's something going to be something wrong.
sure. So yeah, definitely
uh,
I go back every quarter to for a checkup.
Awesome. So all green markers, everything's clean. Bill of health is fantastic. So physically, mentally, emotionally, everything's definitely improved significantly. That's fantastic. Now, what would you say to somebody who's sitting out there who says, like I said, well, Lawrence was in the military. He's super disciplined. He can do it, but I can't. Like, what do you say to somebody who thinks like, man, I just don't know. I'm on the fence. I want to do it. Like, I'm interested, but I don't know if I can do it.
Well, what would I say to them? If I could grab them by the collar and shake them, I would just say, yes, yes, you can. You're gonna get there one way or the other. Do you want to get there by yourself, doing your own research, trying and failing and putting on 10 pounds and losing 10 pounds and then maybe get there? Or do you want to increase the probability of success in actually getting there? Right. That's what I would say to them. So if you're evaluating the program and you want to increase the probability and it's within your budget, it's a no-brainer. Just do it. That's what I would say to them.
Awesome. What was your favorite part of the program? Like out of all the stuff that we did, I like to talk about the 4 pillars of six-pack success. It's training, it's nutrition, it's mindset, and accountability and support. Like, so what was your favorite part of the program, if you had to say?
Oddly enough, because your program is growing rapidly, and when I came on, there wasn't a Facebook group, and now that there is, so watching it change and then being able to leverage your other clients and pick their brain and be there to support them and have them support me, that's probably been the most exciting part for me. Second would be the mindset coaching. I know there's the fitness there, and then third would be the fact that I can, even though we're all bad at it and you shouldn't eyeball it, because even if you eyeball it, you're going to be 30% wrong. But now I can, when we go out to eat and have our cheat meals, where before, if we went to, say, Red Lobster, I would have 4 Cheddar Bay biscuits. I would have like the pasta with the shrimp, and then have a dessert with like 3 Dr. Peppers, right? So if you can just, I don't even know what that is. It has to be 1,800, 2,000 calories for that one meal. So, that would be the other thing that I really appreciate is now I know if I do a cheat meal, I'm going to have half a Cheddar Bay biscuit. My wife and I are splitting a meal, and we may or may not get dessert, and we're drinking water, right? So I can do the math and see the calorie cut immediately.
Well, when some people hear that, they might get a little scared. So tell me, do you feel like you're missing out, or that there's foods that you can't eat all of a sudden, or like, because having some of people's favorite foods is an important part. I like cupcakes. I like pizza. Those are 2 things that I've managed to include and can manage to include on a sometimes even a weekly basis into my diet. Do you feel like you're missing out and not able to eat so many different things, or do you feel like you're good?
Well, in full honesty, it's a trick of the mind. It felt that way maybe in like the first month, right? But as you fall into the program and then you start slowly integrating cheat meals, and it becomes that thing that you sort of look forward to on Saturday, and sort of kind of creates a little mini date night, now and we found these like healthy snacks that are just as good, and you wise up about the impacts of sugar and what that does to your body. I 100% am not missing out. But if you would have asked me on the first week of phase 1, I would have felt like I'm giving up all of my delicious, I could eat a whole pizza in one sitting with the cheese sticks, and it's disgusting. I think about it, but, it's I would eat like 6 slices of pizza and have like those cinnamon sticks that it's got to be 3,500 calories, man. I haven't done this like quick math on the calories until this conversation right now, and it's making me shake my head. So no, I don't feel like I'm missing out.
It's almost like a software upgrade, right? On your mindset, really. It just literally does change everything. So you still have those cheats, you still enjoy some of those favorite foods, but the way in which you enjoy them, the quantity or the quality of those foods definitely usually changes for a lot of people as they go through, because they change. And that's really the point that we want to emphasize, or I want to emphasize, is like the identity shift that happens in your head. It literally is like an iOS software upgrade in your mind, where you do become this other person. And that's why the change sticks, is because you do become that other person. But calling back to 2 things you mentioned, one, the Facebook group, that's been a huge success. People have loved that since I've integrated it. So that's amazing that you mentioned that, because I've gotten just so many positive comments from people who are in the community and who are part of the Action Jackson Fitness community. So that's fantastic. And then two, whenever I talk about the mindset on the calls and stuff, and whenever I talk about it to people who aren't in yet, they're always like, oh, I probably don't need that. And then it's one of the things I hear over and over again, that people, when they go through, it's like, yes, that was the thing that helped me the most. It's like, yes, the training, of course, the nutrition is helpful, but it's the mindset. I like to think of it as that missing link. Like if the training is 30%, the nutrition is 60, the 10% missing link is the mindset, but it's the thing that without it, nothing else works, right? It's like, I don't know, the starter on the car or something. It's like, you can have a Ferrari and the starter's broke. It's like, that car ain't starting. You ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, there was a couple of guys that reached out to me, I think maybe before they signed up for you, and they had the mindset of, I don't think I can get fit. I don't think that's me. And they had this preconceived notion that it's never going to be them. And I was just like, it can be you. And so I don't know. We talked about it yesterday in the group coaching call, but you almost want to grab them by the collar too, and like slap that nonsense out of them, right? Get that stuff out of your head, or leverage it as negative energy to achieve your goals.
Yeah, you have to override those thoughts. And that's obviously one of the things that we talk about and work with people on in the program, but overriding those thoughts and just getting over them and getting past them, because those thoughts will derail you if you're not careful. And you have to open up the door for the possibility. You don't have to say, like you, where it's like, yes, I know for sure I can do it, but you have to have a possibility to say, at least maybe I can do it. Because if you don't leave the opportunity open, the door open for you to go, then you certainly aren't going to get there. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to realize, but it's like, yeah, why not you, right? Why not you? There's this quote from Eric Thomas that I just love. And he goes, I just got tired of watching other people do it who are human just like me. And it's like, you're human. You can go through so much like harder stuff than you ever thought possible. Like you can push yourself so much further than you think you can. Like you can accomplish and do way more than you think you can. We are like biggest self-critics and limiters. And if you just can almost like release the e-brake on people's life in their limits, all of a sudden, wow, this whole world opens up to them. And it's like, yeah, I can get fit. I can get 6-pack abs. I can do this. Maybe I can start a business. I can maybe upgrade and have a much better marriage or a relationship. Like all of these things could be possible when you just say, you know what? Why not? Why not me? What would that look like? And then, of course, what are the action steps to getting there? And then they take action and then they get there.
And that's the other point I want to make, because I came into it. This is where I needed help. Is I felt like I knew it, but I never put what I knew into action. Like I read a lot and I know these things to be true, but like you said, like I was fit before, I knew how to exercise, but again, I was in my 20s and stuff, so your metabolism is like through the roof. But I never put that stuff into action until this program that helped me build habits that are going to stay with me until old age.
So what you're saying is that you were sort of a conveyor of information. You were always pulling in information. You were reading, listening to the podcast, watching the YouTube videos, doing all that stuff, but you weren't taking action on that stuff.
100%.
Yeah. Sometimes, and I've been there too, done that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden it takes that, whether it's that small step or it's that big decision that you make, and then all of a sudden you invest, you get a coach, you get the guide, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's time to finally put one foot in front of the other. And then all of a sudden that just releases you off into the wild and you're off to the races. And I think that's exactly what's happened to you. So Lawrence, we've talked quite a bit. I obviously want to be respectful of your time. Like, is there any last words, whether it's words of wisdom, encouragement, anything that you want to leave the listeners and the viewers with here today?
Yeah, this is probably a weird one, but my wife and I did this together. She's having phenomenal success too with the program. Our marriage is better for it. It's something that we're doing together that we look forward to, or we're eating the same foods. I mean, it's, there's a lot of things that we don't pair up with. She likes country music. I don't like country music. She loves the birds. I hate the birds. But this is one thing that, so we met in 2013. So we're going on like 8 years now. this is the one thing that like glued us together. So I guess if I was going to leave anybody with anything, I know there's a lot of relationships with some of your clients, you know, they're married, they have kids, and then it sort of bleeds, that positivity bleeds into it. It definitely, that bled into our family. So that's what I'll leave it with, is that, you know, getting fit, getting into this program will impact not just you, but those loved ones around you.
I love it, Lawrence. I love it. That's so amazing. And I think that's a takeaway that a lot of people overlook and they don't think about. They think, oh, well, I get fit. That's just me. It's just me. It's like, no, don't be so self-centered. You get fit, and this is going to impact everybody around you. It's going to impact your spouse or partner. It's going to impact your kids if you have them. It's going to impact your coworkers, colleagues, family, friends. Everybody around you is going to see it, and they're going to be, oh my God, they're going to be interested, or they're going to want to know what you did or how you did it. And I mean, we see this all the time. It's such a common saying that I don't think people really see the value or really it has the impact anymore, but you are the average of the 5 people around you. And when you upgrade your life like this, and now you have this influence on other people. I've seen it before with my client Ryan, who said, you know, my kids watched me when I was taking ice cream and I was skipping workouts and I was laying around on the couch and not doing stuff, and they would do the same thing. And then all of a sudden they watched me when I was doing burpees and exercising and working out, Jackson. And then I was eating more vegetables, and then they were doing the same thing. And then they were doing burpees and they were asking for more vegetables at the table. So this has such a bigger impact than people think. And you could be that person, that linchpin that changes all the people around you, right? You can be that person, and you're that person, and now your wife's that person. You guys did this together. And man, it's been such an honor and a privilege to watch both of you go through this journey. Obviously, you're the sort of spokesperson for it because you're the more extroverted one, and that publicizes the results. But I just want to say, Lawrence, man, I appreciate you so much for your commitment, your relentless work ethic, the attitude that you took to this. Just from day one, you were all in, for trusting me, for investing in yourself, and then for taking action and putting in all the hard work to get where you're at today. So I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for that. You deserve every comment, every like, every vote of confidence, all the success that comes your way, because you freaking worked for it, man. And you did everything that you needed to do. It wasn't easy. You overcame, you kept going. There were times you probably didn't think that, you know, geez, I don't know if I can stick to my diet today. You did it all anyway. So you deserve all of it. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate it. I consider you not just a client, but also a friend at this point. So thank you so much, man. It really is.
The gratitude's
amazing.
both ways. The gratitude's both ways. So I appreciate you helping me get to this 180 point. And I 100% believe you know, this impact is going to be all the way till I'm no longer on this planet. Right. So I really appreciate you.